Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to today's video. It's been a long time since we pulled some shards in a video, so we're definitely going to dive into that today for 2x Ancients. The portal is, of course, a light with the lovely blue hue. But as always, we're not just pulling for the sake of pulling. We are pulling with the intention of guaranteeing ourselves, or getting ourselves, not guaranteeing, getting ourselves a legendary tome from the Champion Chase tournament. As usual, our target is the 3,000 point mark. Now, sometimes I have gone all the way out to the 5,500, depending on if they have some sort of special event going on alongside the 2x, guaranteed or something like that. In this case, they did have a 2x or a 10x, on Nekmothar. But if I can flex a little bit, you can see here that I already have 2 Nekmothars, and so I tried to minimize my chance of getting a third Nekmothar, which wouldn't be very useful. But of course, I do expect to get him anyways, just because that's how RNGesus works. JK, don't do that, please. So for those who don't tune in to my fusion plan videos, one of the things we talk about is these champ chases usually take around 50 to 60 ancients to get somewhere in that neighborhood of 2,500 to 3,000 points. So if we hop into the portal here, we can take a look at the current shard count. So we have 505 on the Ancients, 278 on the Voids, 26 on the Primals, and I posted yesterday in the community tab asking you guys if you've pulled a mythical champion yet, because we did have our first official 2x Primal. So go to my community tab if you want to participate in that pool. Simple yes or no. But I clearly have not pulled any of my Primals. I was away during the holiday break, so I just didn't want to worry about doing that. And of course, I want you guys to be there if I get my first mythical champion here. And sacred shards, we have a whopping 63. As usual, let's also take a look at my mercy tracker to see where I'm at relative to these shards. And of course, the focal point here is on the ancient row here. And you can see that we are still fresh off of a legendary. I have not pulled any ancients basically since the last time we had a 2x. And so we are fresh off of getting a legendary. So I don't expect to get one today. Again, we're going to be pulling somewhere in the neighborhood of, well, assuming average rates, we're going to be pulling somewhere between 50, 60, maybe 70, worst case 80 ancient shards in order to get 3,000 points. Now, the base form of this sheet will be linked in the description box down below, but if you guys want me to publish or release the primal version, which is the one you see here, which is upgraded from the base version, let me know and I can link that one in future videos down the road. So who are we looking for today from this session? Now, the legendaries have not really changed that much because I've only gotten one in the past year, which was Harima, which I'm still very, very thankful for. But it is a new year, so maybe we will get that one champion from my wish list starting the year off right. So number 1, we're looking for a Valkyrie. Number 2, Poison Exploder, Xavier or Eleanor. Number 3 is a Bad Alcazar. So those are my top 3 for epics. The only things I need are ones to support the Lady Mikage fusion, if I could find it. I've not pulled a single one aside from a couple of duplicate and moonbeams, which you can see them all here. But aside from that, I've literally not pulled any additional ones. I started with these 3 and I've not got a single one. So hopefully we can get one of them, at least one of them today. So we need some epics for the fusion. Oops, there we go. Epics for the fusion, as well as any legendary at all or anyone off the wish list. So without further ado, let's get to the pulls. We've got some space, we've got some cash, and hopefully we get some pretty decent and or average luck. Here we go. 10 pop. Number 1, 830. I believe that is 3 epics. And I've seen some people commenting, oh no, it's a legendary right out of the gate, and it's a Foley. Okay, my mental math is off. But Foley, okay, legendary right out of the gate. That's pretty awesome. Foley, pretty strong champion, at least in the current meta with the Wukong running rampant everywhere. It's a duplicate for me, so this is definitely a faction guardian, but nonetheless very well known for this ability here, Sealed Fate, that can block revive if it kills an enemy. So very strong in the Wukong reviver meta if you can get him. He doesn't hit super hard compared to some of the other top nukers in the game, but nonetheless, if you bring the champions low enough and he finishes them off, sometimes that's all you need. Off Freeze the Tusk, really cool epic reviver for faction wars if you do need that for skinwalkers, which can be a very tough one. But in the recent year or so, they've added a lot of fusion champions that have really helped make that faction easier. So awesome, we got a legendary right out of the gate. So Mercy is reset once again. I guess we really haven't made any progress from that perspective. Moving right along, 10 pop number 2. And I know I was going to say that a lot of people have been complaining or noting that the tournament points pop up early, so you kind of know what the pulls are going to be. Like this is going to be 2 epics, for example. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on that. It's been there for a while now, so I don't know if they plan to fix it or plan to revert it, but we'll see if they say something in the future. Zelotaw, he can do a little bit of shielding for faction wars if we really need it, because Undead Horde is quite difficult. AoE sleep as well. Tashada, not the greatest, but she did get a buff where she does have a revive on a 3-turn cooldown. But if you have Soul of the Drakes, you're pretty much set for Faction Wars. However, I do use her in one of the Doom Tower secret rooms because it's like force defense or something like that. 10 pop number 3, 820. Is that another legendary? I don't think so. I think that's actually 3 epics. Like I initially thought the first 10 pop there. So I guess 830 is a legendary epic. 3 epics is 820. Very subtle difference. So I didn't remember. Lady Atessa, absolute garbage. Like the worst ally attack champion in the game. I think like even the rare Hyria is better than her. Seneschal, I think he has block active skills or something. No, provoke. Yeah, he can place a provoke if you really need it for Bannerlord's control, but it is on a 4-turn cooldown. He takes a lot of books. Oathbound is probably a lot better because he does have AoE decrease attack, as well as a chance to 4 times at random. Wish it was an AoE, but he also has block actives, or he has block active skills. There we go. Next 10 pop number 4 here. Haven't really been tracking the champ chase points. Oof, 10 pop of rares. So I will have to double check my math here before we get into the next 10 pop, but I think we're somewhere around halfway done. Check back in a second. Okay, so I've checked my math and I think we're somewhere around 2,600 or so. There is some mystery shards kind of skewing the numbers from my memory at least. So probably within the next 10 pop here, if we get a good set, at least 1 epic, we should be good to go for the 3,000 points. So we'll have to compare or check that, verify that in the champion chase. Another epic here, Romero, who did get a buff in the last year or so. He's like a slightly better healer, shielder champion and a better companion to Talia, or is it Juliana? I think it's Juliana. Yeah, Juliana. But I don't think he's that amazing, but he's more serviceable than he used to be. And I guess honorable mention here for the rares, Gnarlhorn, one of the best affinity friendly provokers in the game, who's pretty tanky, really useful. Secret rooms, as well as the Cursed City and Abyssal. I love him in a stun set. Same thing for secret rooms. There's like an epic rare, no epic rare. There's a spirit rare room where having him in a stun set AoE on the A1 with block buffs is really, really strong. All right, so I checked in on the champ chase to confirm, and memory math was on point. So we're just over 3,000 points, 3,026. So just enough to claim our first legendary tome, and that is where we stop. So I think that was 50 shards, which is a bit higher or a bit lower than they expected because of the legendary, of course, that we got. And speaking of the legendary that we got, we can do this together as well. We can come over to the Dark Elves and have my first set of faction guardians for this faction. So there we go, a little more HP for, I guess that's good actually for Mathrala and a bunch of other champions that I have. So there you go. That's going to do it for this shard pull session. So once again, it does appear that the Lady Mikage Effusion epics are evading me. So maybe we'll get them next year. I have no idea when I'm ever going to get this champion because I've just, like I said, I haven't pulled a single one since she's come out, and she's been in the game for months. But in the spirit of my FOMO video, we're going to focus on what we got today. So in fairness, we got 1 legendary basically within 10 shards from my last one, which is ridiculously amazing. And we got all the way to the legendary tome in only 50 shards, which is below average. And on top of that, the legendary, although not being someone that I really would have wanted to have, it's nice to have an extra faction guardian, which will help me get towards 10 out of 10. So in Dark Elves. So overall, it's a pretty good day. I'm not going to be bent out of shape over it. So that's going to do it for today's video. We accomplished the goal of getting that legendary tome from the champion chase. And a quick sidebar here is that it's actually been nearly 6 weeks since we've had the last soul chase tournament. So I have built up a good amount of soul stones here, as we can see, specifically mortals. So we might get a bigger session whenever the next soul chase comes around. So stay tuned for that one. But as always, if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button down below. It is a new year, but we are still on the road to 1,000 subs, and we just recently passed 850, so 150 to go. We're almost there. So once again, if you are enjoying the content on the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.